I've got some good news that we have to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, when you've had the month I've had, we need good news here, okay? One of our previous investigations into BitClout has just been resolved because the SEC just charged the founder with fraud and unregistered offering of crypto asset securities. We called this a mile away, technically 3 years away. Back in 2021, we exposed this scam. It was a platform where you could buy creator coins. They preloaded a bunch of celebrities like profiles onto this platform and said it's going to be like the decentralized Twitter or whatever. And you could buy creator coins. Now, at the time, I had a huge problem with some of their wording and how it was built. You had to pay Bitcoin to get their their new tokens they just invented. And one of the things that really annoyed me was the idea that they were going to take your money, and they kept saying, like, we're this decentralized organization. And I was like, yeah, but the money has to go somewhere, right? But they insisted, no, we're just coins and code. You can see that right here.
It's just coins and code. Have you ever heard this before? Hey, this thing got created.
Whoa, jump scare. Talk about a glow up, you guys. What happened? Okay, let's just continue on.
But no one's behind it. Who could be behind it? We don't know. There's investors, but they must not be behind it because apparently it's just coins and code. Where's all that money go then that's turning the BitClout into Bitcoin?
Good point.
Is that going to anybody? If so, it's owned by that person who's getting all the rewards. Yo, if you get skip.
Okay. Anyways, we used to be a little more unhinged out here. Okay. So now we move on. We had that video. Then we followed up with a video about how much money they had raised. I was obviously skeptical of where that money was going to go, but here's that video now.
Get some free money, and they've so far accumulated about $200 million in Bitcoin. No, I did not stutter.
Okay, $200 million. And then the final act to this story was when the founder, who claimed to be anonymous at first, remember their coins and code, they had an anonymous founder. They were trying to do the Satoshi Nakamoto thing. Later, the guy revealed himself in this big, like, unmasking. It was this guy, Nader Al-Naji. And this is where they claim they weren't going to use their money for, personal expenditures or financial incentives. They weren't going to pay themselves. And I was skeptical. Here it is. Wow. Already looking a little bit better.
Diamond Hands assured Decrypt that neither he nor BitClout's developers would use it to pay themselves, saying their financial incentives are instead tied to the success of the BitClout token. So basically, they have now it's like $200 million. All this money sitting in a bank, Bitcoin wallet, and they said, guys, trust us. We're not, hey, trust us. Don't worry, we're not going to do anything with it.
All right, you can see the general disbelief, and lo and behold, with all that that setup, that preamble of what we talked about 3 years ago, the SEC just charged him with fraud and unregistered offering for crypto asset securities. This is really the important part. He raised over $257 million from unregistered offers and sales of BitClout while falsely telling investors the proceeds would not be used to compensate him or other BitClout employees. That's what we just read. In reality, the complaint alleges Al-Naji spent more than $7 million of investor funds on personal expenditures like rental payments for a Beverly Hills mansion and extravagant cash gifts to family members. So, can't say that I'm surprised because we called this a long time ago, but I am very happy. It is always a big win when we see this stuff come to fruition in actual federal complaints. So cool to see. The SEC's complaint further alleges that to avoid regulatory scrutiny, Al-Naji portrayed BitClout as a decentralized project with no company behind it, just coins and code. Again, that is the same thing that we talked about extensively in our own reporting. So very happy to see this. I love to celebrate the wins as they come. Update before you go. Turns out that Nader has now responded on Twitter, and I asked him some questions as well. Let me first start with his statement. I saw this right before I was going to post this video. He said, he posted, "I'm back. Crypto is my home. DeSo is my life's work." That's the new name for BitClout. "And I will never stop fighting for freedom and decentralization as long as I live. Stay strong. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't forget why you're here. Watch my public statement below." It's pretty boring because he doesn't actually address any of the real claims against him, the allegations. Instead, he makes a bunch of statements about like crypto's being persecuted and other people have been persecuted by the SEC and DOJ. So that must mean I'm a good guy too, like that I'm like fighting for a decentralized internet. But that's not what you're being accused for. You're not getting in trouble because you fought for a decentralized internet. You're getting in trouble because you are accused to have used this money you took and basically embezzled it for your family and friends. So that doesn't really hold up. But I wanted to know if there was more to this statement than just a boilerplate like I've been kind of harassed. Hold on, let's just watch a bit of this statement so you can see what I mean.
Hey everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nader, and I'm the creator of the DeSo blockchain. Last week was tough on the DeSo community, and I know that many of you are concerned about me and the future of DeSo. Up front, let me put those concerns to rest. I'm not going anywhere, and
you might be going somewhere. Also, I apologize for calling him Nader. I wasn't so clear about it. The pronunciation, it's Nader.
if anything, I'm more motivated than ever to continue working toward the vision of a more decentralized internet. I want to be clear. Crypto is my home, the DeSo blockchain is my life's work, and I will never stop fighting for freedom and decentralization for as long as I live. I first got excited about DeSo because I felt it was the most important idea that I could work on, and I still believe that today. The internet is currently controlled by roughly 5.
So you get the idea. He's just like basically like, I'm fighting for the decentralized internet. Then he says that, a lot of people have received the SEC is targeting the most deliberative and innovative projects in the space. So that's basically what he says. And then later below, you can see him say, I thought it was clear from the video, but after reading the comments, because people are like, you didn't address it, I wanted to clarify. I believe I have abided by both the letter of the law, the spirit of the law, and what's more, have acted acted cautiously with sound counsel, and most importantly, in good faith. Now, like I said, this was not a satisfying explanation. I was like, this is garbage. You don't actually address. It's not. I think this person actually put it really well. He says, no one is doubting the DeSo project. People are concerned about the allegations against you. That is what you have to address. And I felt the same way. So I reached out to Nader because he's told me before, like, hey, if you're going to make a video about me, reach out. And I said, yeah, happy to do that. I've done that in the past. So I reached out to him. I said, hello, this is CoffeeZilla. He had agreed to try to answer some of my questions. I'll send over a short list of the most important questions I have. Due to this topic, it will all be on the record. I can't do background or off. Transparently, I thought you wouldn't be able to talk, but when you made a Twitter video, I wanted to reach out and see if you had anything you could share. Yes, man, please understand. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. I'm chatting with my lawyers to see what I can share here. So here were my questions. $257 million was raised in BitClout. You've stated publicly that it wasn't going to be used for personal interest, but the SEC and FBI allege you directed a great deal of this money towards your personal gains and tried to conceal that. Do you have any response? You're accused of enriching yourself for money that should have been in the DeSo Foundation. I won't go through all of this because ultimately he, after telling me like, yeah, dude, I can maybe answer some of your questions. Thank you for reaching out. He answers none of my questions, and he repeats the same thing he said on Twitter. I believe I both abided by the letter and spirit of the law, and what's more, acted generally cautiously, blah, blah, blah. So a nothing burger, no response from him, despite saying he's like gonna, it's basically, I'm innocent, I'm not guilty response, which of course he's gonna say. But I just wanted to include that to let you guys know that we did try to reach out. We did try to hear a side of the story. And I'm not surprised his lawyers don't want him to talk, but I was surprised that he had first told me that maybe he could share a bunch of, stuff about it. And then, of course, after getting my questions, decided, no, in fact, he can't. I think this one question is actually pretty important, though. I'll read it because this is why if you notice, I'm pretty skeptical of Nader's claims. And that's because in the past, I've talked to him about this project and where that $257 million went. This was when I was trying to further investigate BitClout. I was trying to go to him and get more on the record, because he had kind of come to me privately and said, hey, I understand you made these videos about me, but you don't understand. I'm really a good guy. Why don't you talk to me? You'll change your mind. So I did talk to him, and he told me that the BitClout sales were going to be used for something called the DeSo Foundation, that it was not for anything else. It was for this basically nonprofit that he had set up in Delaware. Now, later I looked up the nonprofit. It looked like it was not in good standing, and I wasn't really sure that it did what he described. So I kind of confront him on this. I said, you told me in our last phone call that the money raised by BitClout sales was to be used solely for the DISO Foundation's purposes, which you described as a nonprofit. The SEC, FBI, are now accusing you of essentially lying about this to me by their accusations that you've used some of the funds for personal or family enrichment or otherwise improper purposes. Would you like to clarify what, if any, the money the DISO Foundation received? Which is so that's a huge problem for me. If you're going to tell me, because basically the FBI and SEC bring up this whole other company that he had been funneling this BitClout money into that he had never talked about. Nobody knew. It was called Intangible Holdings, I guess, because he didn't want anyone to know it was tangible for him. So he called it Intangible Holdings, which is a hell of a shell company name. But he never told that to anybody. He certainly did not tell that to me when he was confronted about it. So I'm a little skeptical of this idea that he acted, what does he say? I've abided by both the letter and spirit of the law. You know, I think actually some of this SEC complaint is worth also reading directly because he says some pretty shocking stuff. In my call with him, I remember him telling me that like he had all these top tax opinions and, oh, I've got the best tax people. And, you know, I know everything about the SEC because I had a previous company which I had to shut down because the SEC was going to come after us. And that made me learn all my lessons. So I know that I won't fall into the trap again. So with that in mind, read this, which is in the SEC complaint. This is a quote from Nader Al-Naji, who said this to one crypto industry participant and prospective investor. Al-Naji explained his reasoning and attempts to avoid regulatory scrutiny. My impression is that even being fake decentralized generally confuses regulators and deters them from going after you. In the case of the SEC, it gives you a strong argument with respect to Howey. That's a securities test. But more broadly, when you break the mold of a company with money in the bank, the case becomes riskier in terms of litigation, which makes it less likely some career public servant will make it their mission to take you down, which is exactly what I said. Dude, I knew it. This whole fake decentralization thing was a big scheme. I told people that in the beginning, and it turned out that was true. So absolutely stunning. But I just wanted you guys to know that we've been following this guy a long time. We've been on multiple one phone call with him where he lied to us. Now we've been in text form trying to get his response, trying to get his lawyer's response. I told him, your lawyers can tell me. And now he is, he says how much he likes us. I want to finish with this. Because I say this is the most lawyered. Hold on. Let me move me. Because I say this is the most lawyered non-answer of all time. I will read it if you want, but it is the same thing as saying not guilty. It is a platitude everyone expects you to say and contributes nothing to the extremely serious criminal allegations against you. I'm really sorry, man. I wish I could say more. Really wish I could answer your questions now, as I think it would clear up a lot of confusion, but they're insistent, and I just have to wait, and I will listen to them. But I do really want to thank you for reaching out, even though I can't take the questions right now. It really means a lot that you took time to get my input, and your professionalism is not taken for granted. So he likes us. I don't know if he'll like us after this, but I am very skeptical. He's going to have a lot of very clever explanations to get out of this, a lot of clever opinions from lawyers, or very curious what he meant by fake decentralization. That was another question we asked that he did not answer. So just wanted to update that, let you guys know. And yeah, we will see how this progresses. By the way, it's not just an SEC investigation. I know I said that at the beginning. There also was a sealed complaint by the Southern District of New York, where they're actually accusing him criminally as well of wire fraud. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. There are several allegations of him, like basically wiring money improperly and lying about it lying about where money went. But anyway, you can read it if you want. I'll link it down below. Okay, that's basically it. I had to have some good news for today. I'll put them on the wall of shame when we get back in the $10 million studio. And we will follow this case very closely. Okay, bye-bye.